And a looper out toward left field. It's going to drop in front of Jason Morin, and the Phillies will walk it off as they walk off the series against the Washington Nationals. A bloop single by Cesar Hernandez scores Daniel Nava. The Phillies take 2 of 3 from the Nats, and they win it by a final score of 4-3.
Jared, the Philadelphia Phillies kind of suck. At least in the first few games.
Yeah. It's only a few. It's only 4.
But don't tell Twitter that, because apparently to Twitter, the Phillies actually play football, and there are 16-game seasons where 1-4 equals already missing the playoffs.
Damn, dude. Like, it's, really 4 games, though, is like a huge sample size, and we should really be taking it seriously.
Like,
because
Tommy Joseph is a double A right now because he hasn't gotten a hit yet.
Yeah, he's played in what I believe he's played in all 4 games, at least to some degree, and he has not gotten a hit yet. He didn't start. He started the first 2, didn't start the third, but then started the 4th. But he's at an 0 for right now. So hopefully he gets it going.
We're recording this Friday, so that way no one's confused. Like, what do you mean 4 games?
Yeah.
But
so
anyway, we'll get into Philly stuff later. First, the Flyers missed the playoffs. I think we all kind of expected that, which who really freaking cares at this point because they suck. And Dave Hakstol is arguably one of the worst coaches in the NHL right now. And that's I don't even think that's debatable at this point. Like, he is
it's really not like like we've talked about it, like we keep repeating ourselves, but I feel like we need to at this point. It's like he has made like probably the most questionable and unsupported decisions that I've heard and seen since I've been following like sports, like in general. Like, you see coaches in all 4 major sports. Like, sure, you'll make every coach, every manager makes a questionable decision every once in a while. But then, like, Dave Hakstol, like, the entire season has just made questionable decision after questionable decision. And, like you said, at this point, it's really, really easy to debate that he is and could be, like, the worst head coach in the NHL.
And what's, like, I feel like a meme should be made where it's, and any other head coach or manager in sports makes a mistake, and the reaction is, "Oh, how could it be worse than this?" Hakstol, hold my beer.
That's like perfect. That either that or you could just call it like hackstalling or something like that. Like, just
true.
Just something like that. Like, it's an easy thing to remember. Like, hackstalling. Like, how you gonna forget that?
Then again, he might be fired after this year, so we might not have that much longer to.
One could hope. One could hope.
Yeah, exactly. Latest thing that Hakstol did was, okay, I think it was the game on Thursday, or it was whenever. I'm not even going to bother looking it up because it's not worth it. TK got benched after he took it wasn't a good penalty, and it's one that he shouldn't have taken, obviously. I think it was just like a tripping or a slashing. He basically had gotten beat on the, player had gotten the puck, started to go up ice, and TK just kind of didn't have good positioning and either tripped him, slashed him, whatever. And obviously, it's not a good penalty. Oh, but Dave Hakstol's like, well, let me just bench you for the rest of the game, basically, and then put you in at the very end because, if you're gonna make that point that I don't like the penalty you took, at least put him out the whole game instead of being like, okay, son, you get 10 minutes of timeout. Okay, you're back in. No, make your point or don't make it at all. And he followed that up then by putting Pierre-Edouard Bellemare on the first line. Yeah, you heard me right. Pierre-Edouard Bellemare on the first line.
The same Pierre-Edouard Bellemare who has put up, 7 points this year? 8 points this entire season?
Oh, but he has a better plus-minus rating than some players, so he's good.
Yeah. I wasn't able to watch that game, but from what I was seeing on Twitter after and a little bit during and stuff, like, oh, this was one of like the games where it was just like you could tell like just from what people were saying like holy shit, Dave Hakstol's at it again.
Yeah, I got into some Twitter argument with someone who was just trying to say that Belmore is actually good defensively and he's not a bad player. And I'm just sitting there like, well, sir, there are actual stats, like actual measurable stats that show that he is not a good defensive player and he's not a good player overall. And those mistakes that he makes and that bad defensive ability that he has leads to the poor goaltending. I'm putting that in quotes. At least for Mason, like Neuvert sucks, but
Yeah.
like it's not something that I'm making up. This is like when you allow more chances, it equals more goals usually. Except if you're the Flyers, because they can out-Corsi every goddamn team and then still lose like 4-0. So it's Haxall's been a complete joke this year, and I don't like to think that last year was all just luck and it was a fluke, because I think that there is a significant drop off in terms of his style this year. Last year there was a difference from this year. Like this year, for some reason he just changed it. I don't know what exactly has changed about it. I think it's just mostly the fact that the defense is even more involved than they were last year, and I don't mind the defense being involved. You like to have your defense involved, especially with like point shots and stuff. But that's all they do. All they take is point shots, and they don't have quality NHL defensemen to take those shots, except for Provorov, Ghost, and Gudis, basically. I guess you can throw Delzato in there, but he's been pretty bad this year.
Yeah, it's like just watching what like the lines that he's been putting out, like they just don't seem to gel. Like when you have a good like solid line, like when they gel, like how we've had pretty much our top two lines. I'm not gonna say the whole year because there's obviously been goal droughts for obviously not for the entire season, but there have been some significant goal droughts from the entire team in general. But for the most part, the top two lines this entire year, and even the third line at some points, when Coots was on the third line, or when somebody else was on the third line, and even when Konechny was slotted in on the fourth line for a few games here when he came back from injury, like even at those points, like you saw gelling of the lines, but like when you have players such as Bellemare who can't put up numbers offensively and is also not a good defender, and you have other players that just don't gel together, like you're not going to get positive results. And that's why like Dave Hakstol is just seen as like why is he here, and like why can't he put the talent that we have out there to succeed rather than I wouldn't say fail, but not perform and play as up to their ability. And that's a coach's job. Like that's literally what a coach is there for, to manage the players and put them out there to do as best as they can and put them in the best situations possible. And he just hasn't done that.
And we talked about this last week when we had Seth Driver on from Broad Street Hockey. Go listen to that episode too if you haven't yet. Promo.
Do that. Shameless plug.
Yeah, it was, again, thank you to Steph for coming on. It was great to have her on. But again, like we talked about this last week, we talked about how Hack hasn't optimized the lineup, and that's on him. And I brought up the question of, does Hextall deserve any blame for that? And I can see where people make that argument, but Hextall needs to figure out, okay, I have these players, I need to make sure that I'm putting the best lineup out every night, and putting Pierre-Edouard Bellemare in, putting Chris Vandevelde in every night, that's not optimizing your lineup. In no way, shape, or form is that optimizing your lineup, and it's as simple as that. And if you disagree with that, then I severely question your knowledge of hockey, because it does not take a freaking rocket scientist to figure out that like it's not working and it needs to change.
Yeah, but one good thing, or well, I guess you'd gotta call it a good thing that happened for the Flyers, was they did call up two players. They signed, like we talked about last week, the Italian player Mike Your guess is as good as mine. Vecchione, something like that. And he played in the Devils game, correct?
Yep.
Yes, and they also called up Sam Morin from the Phantoms, and I didn't get to watch that game, sadly. So I'm gonna have Kyle talk a little bit about how he played. First game, obviously we're not gonna expect a lot. Like it's in every sport. Every first game for a player is always just jittery. You're gonna get the nerves out. So yeah, Kyle, how did you see Morin play? Like, what did you kind of see from him? Did he have those jitters that we all know about?
Jared, the fake fan not watching games. I have to point that out. That's
yeah, man. I'm
pretty shameful.
Yeah, fake fan. Yeah.
But Morin looked pretty good. Like Jared said, he had a little bit of those jitters, and he didn't look like an all-star defenseman on this first NHL game, which, if you expect someone to look like an all-star defenseman in their first game, then you're crazy, and you have some serious issues that you need to work out, because, how can you possibly expect that? Especially for a guy who, it's coming up this late in the season, and who is in the midst of a playoff push with the Phantoms, who I believe if they win tonight, they are in the playoffs, which would be the first time the Phantoms have been in the playoffs since I think they were the Philadelphia Phantoms, which, holy shit, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. Because then they changed to the... Because they changed, didn't they, to Lehigh Valley, but there was something else. No, it was Adirondack.
Yep, yeah. Adirondack, then Lehigh Valley, and...
Yeah. Yeah, but...
It's been a mess with the Phantoms, but...
Yeah.
But yeah, so Morin, he's dealing with all that, and then he gets called up, and he looked good, though. The only noticeable thing that I saw with him that was kind of worrying was the fact that, and there was a specific play where this happened, he was trying to make a pass up the wall, and he just, his head just went down and up, down and up, down and up, and it's just keep your head up. You're good. You don't have to, you got the puck. You don't have to worry about it. But again, I'm just gonna credit that to first game jitters because, obviously you're gonna be nervous and you want to be as, perfect as possible in your first game. So I'm not going to worry really all that much about that. It's just something that I am going to be looking for next year when I'm assuming he gets called up for good, or at the very least in the next upcoming seasons, because I can't imagine it takes that much longer for him to be a mainstay on the blue line for the team.
Yeah, who was he paired with? Or was it kind of just a shuffle?
It was Ghost for a while, I believe, and I think there was a little bit of shuffling at some point, but I think for the most part it was Ghost. I could be wrong because I just kind of blocked the game out after that because I was like, I'm excited to only watch these two because I don't care about the rest of the team.
Yeah.
And then...
Well, that's good at least. At least he got in some time with Ghost because, Ghost is in... Ghost is obviously probably our second best... He is our second best defender. And... he hasn't had the best of seasons. It's evident. His numbers are way down. And sure, it's insanely difficult to put up numbers that he did last year, 2 seasons in a row. Especially when coming out, that season was his rookie season. He's gonna go through a sophomore slump. Sure, it always happens. But for those two to be paired, it makes sense. 2 young guys, they're still... Ghost, even though he is in his second year, at the end of his second year, he is still learning how to play in the NHL. It's going to take time. And I guess putting those two together was a solid move by Dave Hakstol for once.
He only waited until the end of the season.
Yeah, to kind of get them, acquainted with one another, maybe learn the game together a little bit. So, you can get some new takes in there. But yeah, so at least that's a little highlight to take from the Flyers because there isn't much else.
Yeah, there's not that much else to take from it. And and Vecchione looked good. I believe he won all of his face-offs, or at the very least a very high percentage of them. So I have no complaints about him, and it's obviously gonna be harder to kind of get a judge on how good he's gonna be. Because, he played on the fourth line, and it's the fourth line, so
yeah,
a lovely little
fourth line that we have.
Shit show that is.
But and also just real quick, I'm not sure if I know last week we said that when Neuwirth went down, I know that we did say he was in the hospital and breathing and everything. But I think the news was like the next day that like all the tests came back normal.
Yeah.
So
So Neuwirth
is yeah. I doubt he won't play this year again more than
God,
likely.
no.
Yeah, no,
I don't
he
think
definitely
they
is not
could
going
even-
to play. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
He probably won't make the trip anywhere. So
Yeah, he's just gonna be like chilling for the rest of the year, and I
Yeah.
don't blame him at all. Like if I was him, I'd be like, look, we're out of the playoffs. I'm just gonna make sure I don't pass out again. So
and
if
after all,
that's good with
he is
you-
the goalie that they extended. So
Yeah, it's again just a really scary situation, but we're glad that Noivy's okay, and hopefully it's nothing that is a
hindrance.
issue again for him. Hopefully it just was a
Yeah.
one-time thing.
Yeah, hopefully that is only the case. So the Flyers season's wrapping up. They only have a few games left. They were eliminated from the playoffs a few games ago. But yeah, so go Leafs. Anyway, so
Yeah, seriously though.
we're gonna move into some Sixers stuff here, because their season is also wrapping up. So soon enough, here we're only gonna have Phillies to talk about, which always
It's
good.
perfectly okay.
Perfectly okay. Anyway, so the Sixers, they have accidentally lost 5 games straight. Now they are in the 4th spot. I say accidentally because they're tanking. They're in the 4th spot currently in the lottery. They're tied with Orlando, but they've lost 5 straight, and they're 2-10 in their last 10. So right now they're in the 4th/5th. We'll just say 4th because it makes us feel better. But yeah, so the lottery is in May, I believe May 18th, 17th, somewhere around there. That's when it's picked at least, and the draft's in June. But and another thing, I believe Justin Jackson from Kansas. Is he from Kansas or is he from North Carolina?
I believe he's from Kansas. Justin Jackson?
Yes, Justin Jackson. He I've seen some things that like say, oh, maybe he's gonna, because he's making a run at, because his tournament performance was pretty solid.
Actually,
I mean, they
apparently
lost, but
he's from UNC. Apparently.
is he from UNC? Whatever the Jackson is from Kansas. There's too many Jacksons in this draft.
Josh Jackson,
But
I think.
Josh Jackson. There's too many Jacksons. I swear to God, there's like 6 of them. But
Yeah.
but yeah, apparently he had like a really good tournament performance, and so like his draft stock's rising. There's some first overall pick speculation. But yeah, like, so the Sixers currently, as it stands, have a 33.7% chance at a top 3 pick and a 10.4% chance for the number 1 overall pick. But we've seen crazier things for number 1. We all remember the Cavs winning the lottery a few years back when they only had, I don't even know, they were probably like the 10th most likely to get the number 1 overall, and I think they got it. So you never know at this point. Like, it's really just a toss-up. Brooklyn, aka Boston, will be probably a top 3 because they have like a 65% shot, but you never really know.
Yeah, the NBA is weird. Like, we think that all these players, like, that it's going to go the way it is, but it's a draft lottery, and the NBA rigs this shit, so like anything could happen.
Yeah, obviously, like we've been saying, the most favorable scenario would be that either the Sixers or the Kings got selected as the 1 pick, which would mean that if we got it, obviously great. If Sacramento got it, then we would use our pick swap with them, and then the Lakers getting the 4th, because the Lakers pick this year is top 3 protected. So that means if they get pick 1, 2, or 3, then it conveys next season, which is unprotected. But Sacramento's is 1 to 10, I believe. Or it's top 10 open. Anything below, I believe we can't pick swap. But they're gonna get a top 10 pick. Like, there's no way they're gonna drop below 10th.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way.
Yeah, they're probably ended up finishing anywhere between 6th and 9th in the lottery, so they will probably get a pick swap. Or we're not going to probably pick swap them, sorry. We're probably not going to unless they get really lucky and get like a top 3 pick and then we end up pick swapping because we got like a 5th or something. But we're really just rooting for the Lakers at this point to get a pick not in the top 3. Like, that's pretty much what we're rooting for at this point.
I just had a really disturbing thought. Is there any way that, like, I don't know how the pick swap stuff works. Like, I don't know how, like, the actual, like, transaction works. Like, if there's any paperwork or whatever that has to go down. But if there is, imagine Colangelo doesn't submit it or something. Like, he doesn't do it correctly. And Sacramento wins the lottery. And we don't get the pick because Colangelo didn't do something right. Can you imagine?
I'm pretty sure it just like automatically goes. Like I don't think there is anything.
I hope so
because like during like when the trade is made, like with how Hinkie traded whoever he did the rights to 2 whoever the hell they are.
Yeah,
for Stauskas and all those guys, and obviously the right to pick swap in this year's draft. I'm pretty sure just like at that point it's just like okay, like they agreed to a pick swap if it does happen.
That's the thing. Like I was like, okay, I don't think this could ever happen, but you know that Colangelo would be the first to do that.
Oh, he would without a doubt be the first. But yeah. So hopefully we're gonna get a high pick one way or the other because if the Lakers do fall out of the top 4 or out of the top 3, we get theirs, and we have our own to look for. So pretty much at this point, we have 3 teams in the top 8 who, if they get a high pick, we have it. So unless it's the Lakers, which 4 is still a high pick, but yeah. So that's really all that's looked forward to for the end of the year for the Sixers. But another real quick thing, I'm not sure if you saw this, Kyle. It's been reported that Ben Simmons grew 2 inches and is now 7 foot. So
yeah, I saw that, and it's just like. What the fuck? Like
yeah, a
how?
7 foot point guard next year. So yeah,
No,
the NBA better watch out.
Bubble wrap him. Just keep him safe. I can't deal with him getting hit again.
Yeah, no. That I think he'll be fine. That he seemed honestly that's a solid reason as to why the rehab and the healing took so long, because when you grow an extra 2 inches on a hurt leg or a hurt foot, and like that's a serious case where it's like, okay, this could have caused something to go wrong a little bit with it.
That's a really good point, actually. I hadn't even thought of that, but that's very true. If he's growing at that time when he's trying to recover from the injury, his body's not going to recover at the same speed as it would have if he didn't grow, because that's just how things work. That's just how the body works. Like, it's the bone or like is going to be. I'm not a scientist, so I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but it just makes sense that it's going to impede that progress if he's growing at that time.
Yeah, and like we forget, like he isn't even 21 yet. Like he's not 21 for another 3.5 months. So it's God. Like
I am older than him. What am I doing with my life? Oh, good
yeah, you
Lord.
see, I'm not yet. Well, okay, why did I say yeah? I'm never gonna be older than him. But like he hasn't turned 21 for another 3.5 months, so he will be 21 to start next season. And he's gonna be 7 feet tall now, so that's a thing. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more else to talk about with the Sixers unless, Kyle, you have anything, but if not, we can move on into the Phillies. Great. So, yeah, if you want to start, you could start up some Phillies talk if you would like.
Opening day was fun. Opening day was awesome.
It was.
Yeah, it was a really, how long has it been since they've won opening day? 2014 when they beat the Rangers in that crazy slugfest.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure it was 2014. Yeah.
See,
I know they definitely win last year.
Yeah,
or the year before.
Yeah, definitely not.
So yeah.
See, it's been a little bit since they've won an opener, so it was really great to see them come out of the gate strong like that, and the offense looked really good, at least for the first half of the game.
Yeah.
Odubel looked pretty good. Saunders had that almost home run. It was, I think it bounced like right off the top of the wall. It was an opposite field double.
Yep.
But they went 4-3 and started the season strong, and then, the next 3 games happened.
Yeah.
That's
The first game was really the only thing, and Scott Feldman threw for the Rays in the opening game, so
how the hell do the Reds even condone starting Scott Feldman on opening day? Like, how do you say
I don't
that
know.
to your fans?
Like, I'm not sure, really.
What the how?
I mean, they're the Reds at this point. Like we had Jeremy Hellickson, so I mean, but still, like, he's a lot better than Scott Feldman.
Scott Feldman is like, I barely even knew he was still in the league. Like, I remember when he was on the Rangers and like a rookie, and I was like, oh, he might be a good pitcher. And then he just fell off the face of the earth, and now he's the opening day starter on the Reds, who are in just full on tank mode.
Yeah. But the Phillies had 4 doubles in that game, the opening day game. Jeremy Hellickson had a triple, which I'm pretty sure that run on the triple came in the 6th inning, or was it the 6th inning, or was it?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that run came in the 6th inning, and then they didn't score until the 1st inning 2 days later. So,
holy shit.
Or no. They scored in the 6th inning on the 3rd of April, so the opening day game, and then they didn't score another run until Thursday's game in the 1st inning. So, yeah.
Oh boy.
But yeah. But yeah, Cesar led off that game with the home. So Cesar led off the season with a home run, and then Freddie Galvis went yard 3 batters later. So that was a fun start to the year. But then after that, they scored 2 more runs. I believe that I think they left a lot of they left 9 runners on base, went 1 for 8, and with runners in scoring position. So
wait, in the game on the opening day game?
Yeah.
On MLB.com they says they left 15 on base.
Oh yeah, I'm looking. That's individual. That is individual.
Oh, okay. You mean
so like individual? If you
okay,
scroll down a little bit, I see what you're looking at. Yeah, it's they left a solid amount, and the only hit with runners in scoring position was that Hellickson triple. So
of course the pitcher is the only one to get that because the Phillies.
Yep. we look forward to it, and then we have this But anyway,
this shit on us.
Yeah, pretty much. And then game 2, they lost 2-0 to the Rays again. Brandon Finnegan started. Jared Eichhoff looked amazing for 6.5 innings until the 7th inning came, which is his kryptonite. That's Jared Eichhoff's kryptonite, the 7th inning. He gave up 2 runs that inning, and then ended up losing 2-0. So, really, if Jared Eichhoff could just get through the 7th inning, he'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be perfectly fine, because then we can just hand it over to Neris or Benoit, Nishek, whoever, and then Gomez can hopefully close it out, and we'll get into Gomez a little bit later, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and it pissed me off, because I saw, the recap or whatever of the second game on the Phillies website, and it was like, oh, Eichhoff's bread and butter hurts him or whatever in the end. And I'm like, okay, it was one pitch. Could we stop acting like he, fell apart? He kind of did, but it wasn't, this dramatic, oh, he gave up, 7 runs in an inning. He gave up, 1 home run, and that was it.
And let's be real, it was Joey Votto.
Yeah, it's not like, who the hell did the Reds even, it wasn't like it was Scooter Gennett who hit the home run.
It's a top 5 hitter in the league. Easy
exactly.
top 5.
It's not like Eichhoff just sucks. That's a good hitter at the plate. Quit acting like it was more dramatic than it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was Joey Votto is like I said, probably top 5 hitter in the league, if not top 10, easily. So, to have Eichhoff go 6 2/3, work into the 7th, and then give up a 2-run shot. I think his pitch count was getting up there too. It's probably, at that point, I would have to guess it was probably in the 80s.
Yeah, I think it had exactly reached 80, and then they took him out.
So, you can't really blame. But the offense in that game was... struck out 13 times. Brandon Finnegan. Like, who?
Yeah, Brandon Finnegan.
So, I guess the only thing that we could say was cool was that Odubel went 1 for 4, Maikel Franco went 1 for 4, and Altair and Rupp each had a hit, but that was just a shit show of a game. They like I said, they struck out 13 times, only walked once, got 4 hits, so that was bad. To put it lightly.
At the very least, it was
Yeah.
And then we had the third game. Clay Buchholz makes his Phillies debut, and it wasn't good. I didn't even get to see most of the game because I was still at school during it. Because 12:35 start time on a Thursday. Thanks, MLB. Thanks.
Thanks, opening week.
That doesn't inconvenience anyone. Like,
hey, we wanna get a younger audience, so let's start 12:35 on weekdays.
When every single young person is in school, basically.
Yeah.
Great marketing. But
yeah.
It's MLB. Can we really be surprised that they suck at marketing? This game was so weird because Daniel Nava hits 2 home runs in his first start as a Philly, and they were bombs too. Like, they were no cheap shots. Nava just crushed both pitches, and he walked in that game. So Nava was pretty good. Nava was pretty freaking good.
I mean, sure, it was 1 game and 3 at-bats, but Nava's OPS following that game was a 3.417.
That's not fair. That's ridiculous.
No. Sure, it was 3 at-bats. He scored twice, had 2 hits, both of which were, like Kyle said, bombs to right. 3 ribbies, a walk, and he struck out when his OPS was still that high. But
Jared, who had a higher OPS that game?
Who?
Well, Michael Lorenzen, the pitcher, who had a pinch hit home run for the Reds. 5.000. Because Adam Morgan.
Yeah, so if you don't know, so basically what had happened was Scooter Gennett came in to pinch hit for the Rays starting pitcher in the 4th inning, I believe, or Scooter Gennett came in the 4th inning to pinch hit for the first Reds reliever, Peralta, and then they put in the Reds. Then went on, whatever, they had a couple more pitchers, but Michael Lorenzen, who is a reliever, he ended up coming in to pinch hit for another Reds reliever, and he hit what ended up being the go-ahead home run. So that was the thing.
It's Adam Morgan. It's Adam Morgan.
Yeah. He hit a solo shot to put them up 5-4, and then they scored twice more in the 7th. So that game wasn't fun, really, aside from Nava, because those were, like Kyle said, bombs, and Buchholz.
2 hits, so that was nice.
Buchholz, the numbers, I will say the numbers do inflate a little bit how he looked. He didn't look like god awful, but he didn't look good, really. He gave up 8 hits in 5 innings, struck out 3, only and walked 2. But, like, I don't know, those numbers aren't, I don't think, as, like, they don't really, like, show the full story.
Which, most of the time, numbers don't exactly show the whole story. But you still would like a pitcher pitching against the worst team in baseball. I think that's pretty confident to say that the Reds are the worst team in baseball because
they're up there.
They're so bad. I don't know who else even like. It's Votto, and then the next best player is Billy Hamilton, and Billy Hamilton
pretty much
barely hit like over.
Maybe Adam Duvall, but like that's it.
But also, like, I still feel like he's just a fluke because most players who come out of nowhere and hit like a bunch of home runs, but hit in like the 240s, end up sucking the year after. So at least that's what I'm hoping. Or
And
not
like
hoping,
he also like strikes out a ton. So
yeah. So statistically, those players usually fall off.
yeah, unless you're Chris Davis or something, but who will strike out 300 times a season and get a mega deal like he got or whatever. But yeah, then Adam Morgan came in and just screwed it all up because he's Adam Morgan. What else is new? And then in the game that was played earlier today, like we said, we're recording this Friday, the 7th. So the game concluded maybe about half an hour before we started recording, maybe a little bit less. And so they lost. So now they're 1-3. They lost 7-6, but they were down 7-0. So that was good to see them come back at least.
Yeah, and we were about to record starting at about when the 6th inning was going on, or the 7th inning, and then apparently the Phillies got mad at us because we wanted to record because we thought they weren't coming back, and decided to almost make best home opener comeback in the history of the team because Freddie hits a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 9th, and we're just like, holy shit, they're gonna come back, and then they just it just stopped.
Blew it, but yeah, and then it kind of just ended. But yeah, it was obviously a rocky ass game because Max Scherzer dominated them through 6 pretty much, and then he gave up the 2 runs or the one. I think he gave up 2 runs.
Yeah, 2 runs.
Because he gave up 1 run in the 6th. He dominated him for about 5.5 innings, and then he gave up a run in the 6th, and then he gave up a run in the 7th, and then he was pulled. And then they ended up scoring 2 more runs off of Sammy Solis, the lefty. So that was when we were kind of like, all right, it's a possibility. It was 7-4 with 2 innings left, and the game was kind of it was going at the pace it was going and everything. We were kind of just like, it's not gonna happen. But then, like Kyle said, Freddie hit that 2-run shot in the 9th. And it was like, all right, it might happen, but then, yeah, it didn't happen because then Aaron Altair came up and he struck out, and then Cesar came up and he was trying to bunt, and then he did he get on? Did Cesar get on or did he? Yeah, Cesar walked.
Oh yeah,
Cesar
that's
walked.
right. Yeah.
And then Howie Kendrick came up. And he got out. He flew out, and then Obi Double grounded out. So that ended the game. But I don't.
I don't really know how to describe this game. It was just a short burst of excitement. But other than that, Tommy Joseph, I don't know what the hell is going on with him. He looks like I don't even know how to describe it. He just doesn't look like he knows what to do. He just goes up there and swings at the first pitch every time. I forget what inning it was, but it was 2 runners on at the very least, and he just goes up there swinging first pitch with 2 outs. You gotta take a pitch. You got to.
Yeah, that was the 8th. They had 2 runners on in the 8th, and he popped it up to foul territory, yeah. Or maybe it was the 7th, and it was just the end of the inning, but yeah, Vince Velasquez started the game, and he struck out 10, but only went 4 innings, classic Vince Velasquez, sadly. But yeah, he struck out 10, and I believe he threw 90 pitches in 4 innings, so that's not very good, obviously. And then Joely Rodriguez came, and he had 3 runs in 2 innings, also not good. And then but oddly enough, the Phillies pitchers struck out the Nationals 17 times, including 3 for Trey Turner, 3 for Jason Worth, who also hit a 3-run home run, 2 for Adam Eaton, 2 for Bryce Harper, 3 for Adam Zimmerman, 2 for Anthony Rendon, struck out Daniel Murphy, and then struck out Max Scherzer. So 17 Ks, still lost, still give up 7 runs. That's like pretty much sums up like how the season has started for the Phillies.
Pretty much. It's unbelievable that they could manage to pull that off, but also at the same time, it's like, yeah, that sounds about right for the Phillies. That completely makes sense. And like, it sucks that we lost, but it sucks even more that, of course, like the three guys that we despise the most have to hit home runs: fucking Harper, Daniel Murphy, and Jason Worth. It could have been anyone else. Like, I hate pretty much everyone in the Nationals except for like Trey Turner. I don't despise yet. Adam Eaton is whatever. He was on the White Sox. Rendon, like, I don't know if I'm just being weird, but like, there's something about Rendon that just pisses me off.
Matt Wieters, I guess, because he hasn't really been on the Nationals.
Yeah,
and
like, he was on the Orioles,
I always liked.
Awesome.
Yeah, I always liked Wieters. Kind of sucks he's on the Nationals now, but.
Yeah, like, of course, like, a player that we like on another team has to go to the Nationals. Like, I swear, everyone who goes to the Nationals turns into a massive dick. Like, it's just the way it is.
Yeah. But, like, that game, the game was just really weird. Like, you at the beginning of the game, like, because Bryce Harper hit a 2-run shot in the first, and then they ended up getting 2 more in the third off the Murphy home run. And at that point, it was just like, bro, like, come on. Like, there's nothing. Like, this is how the season's going to go. Like, this is how the season's going to go. And then obviously they ended up making that little rally at the end there. They scored 6 runs in 4 innings, which was good to see that the offense at least did something. Because in the Reds series, aside from the first game, really, they didn't do much. They scored 4 runs in the third, or they scored 4 runs in the third game against the Reds, but it's the Reds. They should be scoring like 6-7 a game off them. Especially when Scott Feldman is their quote-unquote ace. So
I'm never going to get over that. That's just always going to be hilarious to me.
Yeah, but like Kyle was saying, Tommy Joseph, he's had a terrible start to the season. He's gotten on base 1 time, and it was a walk. It was today.
It was today. Like,
yeah. He has started the season 0 for 13 with 6 strikeouts. He has 1 run, so he scored after he walked. So at least he's 100% on his, scoring whenever he gets on base, which is that's not even a stat, but
probably not.
Yeah, no. But on the contrary, Odubel Herrera has gotten off to a very good start. He has started off 6 for 14 with a run scored, RBI, 2 doubles. But then the really, really good stat is the 4-2 walk to strikeout ratio. So he's walked 4 times, struck out twice, which is really good. He started out the same way last season, pretty much. He started out really patiently, taking a lot of pitches, seeing a lot of pitches. But last year he was the leadoff hitter. This year he's hitting in a 3-hole behind Howie Kendrick in front of Michael Franco. So he's gonna get a little bit squeezed. I'm not gonna say as much as not squeezed. He's gonna get pitched to a little bit more carefully. So that's why he's gonna be kind of not. I'm not gonna say he's gonna hit a shit ton of home runs, but he's going to get pitched to a little bit more tediously because nobody really wants to face Michael Franco, I guess, because of his potential power and his potential just pop, because he could hit shots like we saw last year, like we saw in 2015, like we saw in spring training. So, he's definitely going to be able to walk a lot again this year, which is a good thing, because if we can get on in front of Michael, in front of Saunders, in front of Joseph when he gets going, that's always a good thing.
Yeah, exactly, and I think it's going to definitely benefit Franco for Odubel being in that 3-hole, because Odubel has just improved so much with plate discipline that he's, like, at the very least, Franco's probably going to have at least 1 guy on base every time he steps up to the plate, just because Odubel and Kendrick should be pretty good at drawing walks this year. So you would hope that Franco, that's another thing in the first couple of games that we've noticed, is the fact that his plate vision and discipline has been a lot better. There was one pitch earlier where it was just a breaking ball's way outside, and like all of us at home understand, like, yeah, don't swing at that. But last year Franco would have swung at that, and this year, like, he's being a lot more patient. He's drawing a lot more 3-ball counts, and it's a really good sign. And of course everyone's gonna look at his average and be like, well, he's not getting hits though. just wait. Like he'll get them eventually. It's just good to see progress, and when you work more, when you work the count more, you create more hitting. You're better hitting opportunities. The pitcher's going to have to throw one over the heart of the plate, or at the very least in a position where Franco's going to be able to drive it, and eventually the hits are just going to start coming for Franco. So it's definitely a great start to the year for Odubel as well, and I'm glad I picked him up in fantasy because he is doing an awesome job.
Yeah,
He's probably like my best player on the
solid.
team right now.
Oh, probably.
But yeah, he is off to a great start, just like he did last year. Hopefully he can have another All-Star season. And I can't see why he wouldn't, because he, again, has just been excellent to start the year. And it's just been really nice to see.
Yeah, and to go to your point about Franco being a little bit more patient, Matt Winkelman, who is the managing editor at Crash Burn Alley, he put up a little thing on Twitter before. Obviously, this was at the time before today's game, and I know he had another 3-ball count in today's game. But in 2016, Franco saw 109 3-ball counts. He played in 152 games. And so far this year, he has already had 5. Like I said, this was before today's game. So he already had 5 in 3 games. And I know for a fact he had at least 1 3-ball count. I'm not sure if he had more than. At very least 1. So he at least has 6 in 4 games. Which, like Kyle was saying, once he gets his patience in, and once he's seen the ball better, the hits are going to come. We just have to wait. We have to be patient with it. He's still a young player starting out at the beginning of the season. He's been in the league for 2.25 years at this point, he only has 1 full season under his belt. He's going to be nervous to start to start the beginning of the year. He's still a young guy. He's only 23, 24 years old. So, we just have to be patient. It'll probably take him a solid week or 2 to get into the flow of things, especially hitting in the middle of a potentially power-packed lineup with Saunders, with Odubel, with Joseph, with Rupp. And so, like I said, just be patient. The hits will come. The home runs will come. But yeah, and then, like Kyle mentioned a little bit earlier, Genmar Gomez, he has not... he pitched today. He pitched well. He had 2 strikeouts, but to start the year, he really hasn't been too hot.
Yeah, the first game was like he gave up a home run to Scooter Gennett. Like, you can name your kids whatever you want, but who the fuck names their kid Scooter? And why do you keep that name? Why do you not look at your parents and be like, hey, what the fuck is this? Like, why? Why did you just try to ruin my life by naming me after a freaking knockoff of a bike? Like, what is this? So Gomez gave up a home run to him. That sucked. He got the save though in that game, so at least there's that. So, I guess the question that a lot of people are asking, and that I'll pose here, is how long of a leash does he have? Because apparently, Pete Mackinnon, the manager, has already said that it's not exactly that long of a one, which is surprising because it's just 1 game. But how long do you think he has?
Well, you see, I think that Pete kind of said that. Well, all right, so when spring training and even before spring training in the off season, when everybody was speculating, is Genmar Gomez still going to be the closer? He was already on a short leash last season because Neris is clearly better. He clearly has better closer stuff than Gomez does, and so really I think Gomez's leash has been short for about a year now. So, personally, if he has another rough game or 2, closing at least, because today he did pitch, he went an inning, but they were already losing. So, I guess he pitched well for keeping them in the game, but really, at this point, if he has another, I would have to say shaky at least 2 outings, whether it be in a save op or whether it be just at the end of a blowout or at the end of a game where we're getting beat. Then I think he slides in either Neris or Benoit, because Benoit is still definitely capable of closing games. Pat Neshek, he probably won't be slotted in as a closer unless, God forbid, some injury happens to both Neris and Benoit. So, Neris or Benoit should slot in as a closer. I would probably say if it was this early in the season, that Gomez was kind of pulled from the closer spot, I would probably give the jobs to Benoit. But if it doesn't happen for another maybe month or so, I'd probably give it to Neris. Because Benoit is going to get more work in as just a reliever and not a closer. So, and you want other teams seeing that he is still a capable reliever, so that way come deadline time, you can get some prospects and some value for him.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for them to put him as a closer just because at least from Benoit, just because if he doesn't work out as a closer, all of a sudden that trade value just goes skyrocketing down. And I don't think that they want to risk that. I still think that they'll probably end up doing that if worse comes to worse, but I think long term they would probably go to Neris by the end of the season if Gomez has faltered that much. Because, again, I'm not assuming Benoit is going to be on the team past the trade deadline. I can't imagine a scenario where he is on the team past then. But, yeah, if Gomez continues to struggle, Neris is probably going to be the closer by the end of the season, and that's either Neris or somehow Adubre Ramos just lights it up enough that he wins the job. But I feel like Neris has earned at least a shot to close out games before any of the other guys besides Benoit, really. But, like you said, at least another 2 shaky outings, and especially if they happen consecutively. If his next save opportunity goes like his first save opportunity did, then you might see, Neris or Benoit or whoever come in for the next save opportunity. And I don't think that Gomez is going to be, weird about that. He's going to accept that because I think he didn't exactly this whole the closer job to him was that was a complete shock to everyone that he could actually close out games. Because you look at his stuff and it's he's a ground ball pitcher. Why is he our closer? Oh, why is he doing well? What? So, I don't think he would challenge Pete on that.
Yeah, no, I definitely think he would probably accept it, and I mean, I think he would have to because really,
he would have to.
He knows okay, I pitched really shitty at the end of last season, and it's not like it was just a few games. It was a solid 2-3 weeks to end last season where he was just atrocious. I mean, so was the rest of the bullpen, but he was particularly bad. I think he had maybe 2 or 3 blown saves, and then he got hooked from it. Neris was the closer for, I think, a game or 2 that he pitched, and then this season, he didn't look all that great in spring training. Don't get me wrong, he didn't have a ton of outings in spring training, just because, they wanted to get looks at younger guys who are going to be part of the future. Jemar Gomez probably isn't going to be a part of this team going forward. I wouldn't presume past maybe this season, maybe next season. I don't know, but I don't think he would really challenge if he was, because I feel like he knows that he really doesn't have that closer charisma, that closer stuff, and so that kind of plays into a player's mind, and it's just when you know that your confidence level isn't as high as if you had 100-mile-an-hour fastball or a devastating sinker or a wicked curve or a wicked change. So, and he just doesn't have that stuff. He just has ground ball stuff that'll get you outs. But if he's not getting those ground balls, then he's pretty much screwed because they're gonna just spray the ball over the field on him.
Yeah, it's basically the Kyle Kendrick effect. If he's not getting the ground ball pitches, ground ball outs, then he's screwed. That's just basically how it is.
Yeah, and speaking of Kyle Kendrick, he's starting against one of the Phillies. I'm pretty sure he's starting against Lehigh Valley. I think he's starting against Lehigh Valley today.
I hope
against Jake Thompson. Because Jake Thompson was starting for them, so tough opponent for Kyle Kendrick there. Oh, that would, yeah. I'm not sure what the score of that game is, or if they're even playing it, because I know it was supposed to rain there, again.
Yeah, because Pennsylvania's being a complete ass lately with weather.
Oh yeah, it's been trash everywhere, really. It's been terrible.
Like, I mean, I expected it in Ohio because it's Ohio.
Yeah.
It's just a trash state. So, no offense if anyone's listening to this from Ohio, but yeah, Ohio. Like, I'm pretty sure every like Ohio, and okay, literally as soon as I talk about Ohio, I get a tweet that comes up that says Ohio man. I'm not gonna say his name, but holy shit, that picture. Was arrested Sunday for chasing a family member with a hatchet, swinging and denting a truck. So Ohio for you.
Yeah, that's definitely, you know, not a favorable situation.
No, not really.
Definitely not. No.
The timing of that, though. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So right now, Lehigh Valley is losing. Or no, actually no, they're winning. Something just happened that
Jorge
they scored.
Alfaro. Jorge Alfaro
Jorge
has
Alfaro,
3 RBIs and 2 at bats.
he does. He's drove in. He has 2 singles. One scored Roman Quinn in the first to put them up 1-0. And then they ended up going down 3-1 in the second. But then Roman Quinn singled to score. Oh, he had a bunt single because Roman Quinn. So Cam Perkins scored, and then Jorge Alfaro drove in 2 on a single. So Jorge Alfaro, man, great guy.
Can't wait till he's back up. I keep forgetting that he actually was called up in the end of last year because they just never played him.
Yeah.
But I can't wait till he reaches the majors again. Until he's a star here, because he is going to be a star, and there's not like any question about it.
Could you cut you on for a second? I want to plug up my.
It's like really good that like he's gonna be. It's really good that he's gonna be like, playing a lot in AAA, because like if he wasn't going to be playing a lot in AAA, and like Andrew Knapp was still there, yeah, that would kind of suck.
Yeah, just a bit. But
yeah,
hey,
but like
Knapp's up here now, and he hasn't been god awful so far. So it's
Jake Thompson did give up 3 runs though, so yeah, it's not.
But hey, baseball season.
But the thing is, it is against Pawtucket.
Yeah.
And yeah, they are like really
that's a pretty
like
good
that's
AAA
that's
team.
the Red Sox's farm system, and the Red Sox are. Yeah, the Red Sox.
They always find a
like
way to just have great prospects in AAA. Like,
yeah, they're always gonna have. Yeah, but no, Kyle Kendrick isn't starting for them. I'm sorry, he's in the bullpen, I believe.
Well, hopefully he comes in and gives up a home run.
Yeah, he's probably gonna be coming in soon because their starting pitcher has given up 4 runs and 6 hits in an inning and 2/3. So
he'll probably be warming up soon.
Probably, yeah. Dylan Cousins is up right now with 2 on, so maybe he hits a 3-run shot or something, but probably
hopefully.
He'll probably strike out.
Jared, we are a few games into the season. Have some damn confidence.
I mean, he was up 3-0 in the count, and now he's 3-2 in the count. I'm just sitting here waiting for this game day update to update.
Oh, game day was a pain in the ass for me when I was
Game day
to look at the
Game day is terrible. The layout of game day on MLB and MILB is horrendous. It really is.
You would think that these, websites who are for the biggest sports leagues in the entire world could maybe not have shitty ass websites.
Yeah.
Like, who is in charge of this? Because they suck.
And
they really
Dylan
suck
Cousins flies out.
Oh, god damn it.
Damn it. So, okay, so, so baseball, it's back, thank God. The Phillies, they're still, they're 4 games in. There will be, 5 or 6, there'll be 6 games in by the time this podcast goes up, so hopefully they win those 2 games, because that would be awesome, beat the Nats in a series. But yeah, to move on now from the Phillies into Kyle's hot take, which he said he is doing on the fly today. So that.
Yeah, I don't really know. I had no idea coming into this because I just couldn't really think of anything. But I'm just gonna go with a thing about the Flyers because there's this love affair with players who, quote unquote, do their job. And that, I hate with a burning passion, that type of thinking. I understand that you want players to sometimes make the safe play, to not, you know, put yourself in a situation to give the puck away more than you would any other time. And I get why a player like Nick Schultz fits that role, and I get why teams like a Nick Schultz to be on their team. The problem is, when players like Nick Schultz get to play 82 games in a season, get to play a full season, or at the very least almost a full season, they only miss like 2 games, that's a problem. I don't care about, like, there was a series of tweets from Bill Meltzer who, like, it was basically just like, I'm gonna defend this even though he's not a good player. I don't know how else to describe that to people. You can say, oh, he blocks shots. Good for you, you block shots. Anyone could block shots. I can't even skate, but I could just stand there and just get in the way of a puck.
Yeah, just yeah, you could just like stand there with like a bunch of padding and stuff on and just like chill and just
exactly.
put your hands up, do some jumping jacks, some you'll block some.
But that quality in a player is not enough to the point where I can condone starting them on a consistent basis. That's not a player that I want in my lineup. I would rather have a player who takes more chances and who can actually generate some chances to be in the lineup than that. And let me go back and try to find these. Yeah, here. Let me get these tweets because, yeah. So this is what Hakstol said about Schultz. He's a guy who always came to the rink and did his job. I hate that because it's such a cliche, and it's just an excuse for being a shitty player. Like that's all.
Yeah,
it is.
I have to agree because it's like, if you're a professional athlete who comes to anywhere, the rink, the field, anywhere, the court, and you don't do your job, then why are you Why are you a professional athlete? Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, I expect you to do your job, but I expect more than that. Honestly, like I want you to actually, do well at your job. There are people who do their job but suck at it. I know plenty of people that I work with who do that. And that's just the way it is in all workplaces. You have people who do their job, but they suck at it. And if they suck at it, then why would I bother keeping them? Why would you pay them? If you're in a management position, why would you pay them if they suck at their job? This whole theory of, oh, well, he's a nice guy, he does all this, and it's like, good for you, you're a nice guy. And I do think Nick Schultz is a great guy. He seems like there was a quote from him. He said that he had a 3-year contract offer, 3-year extension offer from Hexie, but he's turning it down to make him sweat it out, which is hilarious because that he doesn't have a contract extension on the table. But
yeah.
But I like that, and I like Nick Schultz the person, but he's not a good hockey player, and he never was. Like that. The debate I got into with Bill was, I had to look up and see what, maybe he was a decent player back in the day. Maybe he was a decent player when he first started out. No, he's been a below-average Corsi player his entire career. Like, he has never reached a 50, he's never broke even in Corsi his entire career. I know advanced stats aren't the end-all be-all, but come on. You eventually got to break even at some point, especially if you're a defenseman. So, that was just an issue I had with that quote in general, and with just the whole theory that players get a pass because they're the Philadelphia style player. They, the lunch pail, fucking bullshit. They do their job. I just hate that. I hate it so much.
Yeah, that's like, if you're like a Philly athlete and like that's your description, like you're there's a lot of teams that like if they say like, oh, you do your job and stuff, but then you're fine. Like don't get me wrong, you're not fine, but like you're in a decent situation. But if you are a Philly athlete and that's the description that is placed on you, then you should just probably reevaluate what you're doing, because at that point you just don't really belong, I guess.
Yeah, if the best compliment someone has for you is you do your job, you should probably get out. Just stop. You need to realize that you're not a good player. And
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I think Schultz does realize that he's not a good player. Because, and I've noticed that just how he plays, he doesn't try to do too much. He knows that he can't do things that a Provorov can, or a Ghost can, or even a Delzato can. He knows that he can't do those things. McDonald, on the other hand, he thinks that he's top 3 defenseman in the league with some of the BS he pulls. But,
Oh yeah, he's you see, he's a guy that like you can't even give the label that like, oh, he does his job, because like he doesn't.
No, he literally does the opposite of his job. Like that's
Yeah.
He just turns the puck over 24/7. And yeah, the Flyers are a shit show. And Hakstol made another quote that was let me just find it. Hakstol on Mason. When he's on his game, as he's been for stretches, he's been a very effective goalie for us.
Nice warm-up.
That just rubs me the wrong way. Like that's saying like, yeah, he's decent. He hasn't like bailed us out. Like he hasn't literally gotten us to the playoffs.
Almost. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's
Like if he's not on this team, like I don't see how we're even in playoff contention with 5 games left in the season.
yeah, we would have been out a while ago. Because if it's Neuer
There-
and whoever else, there's no way we even come close.
Yeah, like even like Solars is a good goalie, but he's young and he's not going to
Yeah.
carry a team to the playoffs yet.
It would be his rookie year this year. Like a rookie
Yeah.
goalie isn't going to carry you to the playoffs.
Yeah, no.
Especially not playing a full season. Like Cam Ward did it back in like 2005 with the Canes, but that's again like a very random situation that
Yeah.
like doesn't happen.
And the Canes weren't like the Canes in that season were probably better than this year's Flyers anyway. So
Yeah, they had Eric Stahl, fucking Mark Recchi, I think was on the team at that point.
oh yeah, I think
like-
he was. I think you're right.
Like they had Rod Brindamore. They had some pretty decent ass players. So
Yeah,
meanwhile the Flyers have Chris Vanderbilt.
yeah, and their top line Pierre-Edouard Bellemare.
Yeah, top first liner, Pierre-Edouard Belmont.
Yeah,
Gotta love it. But yeah, I realize it's probably not that great of a hot take just because I really did not know what to say for it. Nothing really much is happening right now.
yeah.
Like, the Phillies are just
I mean-
starting up. If I have to say anything, quit freaking out about this team. We are 4 games into the season. Chill out. Just
Yeah.
to quote Michael Jordan from that old ass McDonald's commercial, get some help.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers. Relax,
Oh.
you know.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, like he's relaxed. He said relax, and then like look, like they went on and they did whatever, and then this year he was like, yeah, we're gonna run the table, and then they ran the table. So maybe we just need Aaron Rodgers to come and just tell us that we're gonna be chill, we're gonna be good,
I think that's a good
and
idea.
we'll be fine.
Just Aaron Rodgers. Just bring him in. Sign him to like a 1-day contract.
Yeah, that'll be fine. Really, just put him in. Well, we could probably put him in left field at this point.
Yeah, he wouldn't be terrible. He has a good enough arm.
Nah. Oh, without a doubt, yeah, he can gun people at home. That'd be. Yeah. fun.
What has this episode become? We're
I don't know,
about
really.
on the Phillies.
Yeah, not sure. We were aiming for like 45 minutes, and we're an hour and almost 10, so that's fun.
Appreciate us for that because we do not have like anything to talk about. So
Yeah, this week was a slow week aside from the opening week.
So to basically wrap it up, this has been episode 11 of the Drive Podcast. As I again like forget the episode number. Yeah, so this is episode 11. I am Kyle. This has been Jared and Kyle. I can't do the outros correctly. Peace, everyone. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Yep.
Catch you next week.
When you are down, lift your head off the ground. There's a lot to be learned, so look around. Once there was a silly old ant, thought he'd move a rubber tree plant. Anyone knows an ant can't move a rubber tree plant, but he had high hopes. He had high hopes. He had high apple pie in the sky. Hope so when you start to feeling low,
instead of letting go. Just remember that, and whoop, there goes another rubber tree. Up there goes another rubber tree. Whoop, there goes another rubber tree plant.